I was born on September 1988 at 5:33 a.m. That was the only day I woke up so early. This continued till the age of 21, when I was required to be reborn every single day. My work shift started at 6 in the morning. This was in India, and before you assume I was a yoga teacher, I was required to report to work so early because I was a customer care executive in a bank that was based in Hong Kong. 6 a.m. in India is 9 a.m. in Hong Kong, office hours, and we had to match their office hours whether we liked it or not. Before I get further into the story, I'll briefly explain what this whole work arrangement is about. I know you look confused. India is where I come from. India is a hub for something called outsourcing. Now what that really means is that wealthy countries like America decide what part of their job is boring, then separate it from the interesting and money-making part of their work, and then ship it across to middle-class workers in India to take care of it. So you close the $1 million loan deal, we do the documentation. You sell the defective iPhone, we tell the customer, now there is no need to use profanity on the phone, sir, is it? You stick the made in USA tag, we polish, design and export the jewelry. If you could, you would keep the conceiving of the baby part and outsource the pregnancy cramps to Indians as well. That's outsourcing. An industry most well known around the world for giving the world the now miraculous, infamous, universally applicable phrase, but have you tried to switch it off, then switch it on again? We use it for customers struggling with their new computers and for their relatives on life support. Corporations choose countries like India and Bangladesh because labor comes cheap and with accents that their TV shows find hilarious. So that's the industry I started with. Now it probably makes sense to you. And I was assigned the Hong Kong branch of an American bank. So, like I said earlier, I was never an early riser. Kids would wait until a week before the exam to pull off all-nighters, something that I regularly did, to play with my toys or get my room in order or secretly watch TV till about 3 a.m. There was a time when I had memorized product codes on late-night infomercials. And I can tell you there is not a first world problem that they haven't made a product for. Including a golf club that's actually a hollow pipe that you can use to relieve yourself without leaving the golf course. Look it up. But I managed to grow up a healthy child. My daily afternoon naps of 8 hours made sure that I was well balanced and well slept. This until the job, which I desperately needed, threw my entire schedule out for a toss. I was now required to wake up super early, which means sleeping early and giving up the pleasure of late nights. But just like going for a party doesn't necessarily mean having fun, going to bed doesn't necessarily mean going to sleep. So I would lie awake in my bed, overanalyzing events from the day, and then wake up struggling with sleeplessness. First, I would report late at work, and then the real messing up would begin. I would send confidential financial reports to my mother, and Happy Women's Day, Ma, see you soon, email to my male boss. This despite the fact that I was single-handedly responsible for a 30% increase in my office's coffee budget. Nevertheless, I knew I had to quit my job before they would throw me out. I needed to change careers, something that would be more tolerant of my own internal rhythm, natural rhythm of sleeping until late. So I took the one profession that people do when they want to take the sting away from transitioning from a white collar job to a future blue collar job. I became a freelance writer. As you must have guessed, I was now struggling financially. This is an industry for people who are okay with savings enough to last till tomorrow's lunch. And by lunch, I mean a bag of chips. So, just like writers, too broke to even drown their despair in alcohol and drugs, I turned to their cheaper and righteous alternative, self-help books. Man, I was addicted and not enjoying it. Every single one of them said that my miserable, pathetic piece of shit life could not be changed until I do one thing. Any guesses? Wake up early? Yeah, God damn it. Wasn't that the thing that have made my life miserable in the first place? Nevertheless, I gave it a try. Again, this time enforced by my own twisted conscience. I tried every trick in the book. I gave up coffee, replaced screens in my bed with boring magazines. But what's the point? I would wake up early and hate the sun. I would be groggy and spend all morning daydreaming about being in bed. I knew I had to change. I had to probably make some new changes this time. I had to ask myself, could it be that I wasn't the problem? That maybe that society's definition of success isn't diverse enough to accommodate people like me who just happen to have a different internal rhythm. When it comes to body clocks, there isn't a right and a wrong model. There are just different models. I needed to accept myself first, which I very happily and with great relief did. I started waking up and also working later in the day. And I would use up my early mornings productively sleeping and dreaming of hot chicks and hot chocolates. I realized that the night owl doesn't have to compete with the early bird for its worms. It has its own share of rats and rodents to feast upon. And that there is enough to go around for every type of bird. Thank you.